Hello everyone, my name is Ark and welcome back to another SH Figuarts review. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Super Saiyan Trunks, the boy from the future. This is the 2024 reissue that apparently fixed a bunch of issues that he had with his arm and of course his legs. So, finally have this guy. I found him on Amazon for a retail price, so I had to snag him. I was worried that he was going to be a pre-reissue one, so I was holding out my breath, and luckily enough, I got the one with the reissue, so it makes sense because he is also completely sealed on this side and this side. Don't worry, I made sure that he is completely sealed. And the reason to know about this is because he does have the smaller sticker. So the ones that have the smaller sticker that says Tamashii Nation's quality will be the reissue, and if you're getting one and it is the bigger sticker, you'll definitely notice it is like the size of my thumb compared to this one, which is the size of my pinky. You'll know that it is a pre-reissue figure that has some of the issues that it had prior to this. But without further ado, with this lengthy intro, let's take him out and see how he looks. Alright, so here we have the Super Saiyan Trunks, boy from the future, and my god, does he look amazing. Of course, I had to include his sheath and sword as well, just to complete the look for this review. Now, this guy stands at a whopping, let's see, 5¼ inches all the way to the top of his forehead, and then around 6 inches to the very top spike of the hair. So he is a pretty tall boy, which is really nice. Whoops, did that again. So this guy, compared to his counterpart, the Saiyan suit or the Saiyan armor Trunks, they're pretty much on par in terms of height, which is really good. They're the same character, they really haven't changed much in height. This guy is slightly older by a year compared to this guy, but they're still the same character, so of course they should look relatively the same. Now, this guy did have a lot of controversy for his initial release. A lot of people were not happy about him, but now the reissue fixed a lot of those things, and people are actually finally happy about it. Now, this guy I actually missed out on multiple times on Premium Bandai for the reissue, and also Big Bad Toy Store, so I was hoping that Amazon was just gonna have him still available, and they did, so now I have him here. In terms of the aesthetic and appearance, he looks absolutely magnificent. There isn't many issues that I have with him whatsoever. Now, the one thing in terms of the actual appearance, don't know why he looks super lanky on the camera, but the actual pelvis area is super glossy compared to the actual leg pants, the pant leg right here. So there is a big difference. It's slightly shinier here than it is on the actual leg itself, so that might put some people off on there. So realistically, it's not the biggest issue unless you really want this to be super matte finish. The actual paint job for the figure is really nice. The belt buckles for both the actual belt and the sword sheath look really nice. The hair is a beautiful matte finish with that gradients, that darker gradients that they've been adding to those Super Saiyan figures. Really well done. I absolutely love it. The Capsule Corp logo looks amazing. Again, the paint job on the sword is fantastic. Oh, let me put that down behind him. But yeah, everything else in this figure looks absolutely amazing. Now, some people are actually complained about the actual look of the legs. I do agree they are somewhat off-putting because they're kind of the hips going outward, which is not natural for any type of body, even if it's an anime body. So I understand that's a small complaint, but I don't have it. Now, moving on to the articulation, this guy actually has some pretty good articulation. With the actual sword and sheath, he can look down about that far, which is absolutely fantastic. He can't really look up, but he can look up about that far. He can, of course, swivel side to side because he does have a ball peg head, I'm guessing. Yes, ball pegs, double ball peg right there, which is amazing. It should be done, in my opinion. It just allows for better range of movement there. So there is that. Oh, the sword got detached from the body. Sorry, Trunks. Let me attach that real quick. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. But yeah, again, in terms of the arms, he can definitely do better than a T-pose, which is great. Love it when they can do that. Amazing, fantastic. Of course, the 360-degree rotation, which is a little bit tight on mine, might cause some issues. It's just the actual like soft plastic of the vest or the jacket just getting in the way a little bit. Not too big of a deal. Of course, double jointed elbow, fantastic. Bicep swivel. Okay, for this time we're gonna take away the sword for a minute. So bicep swivel, of course. Now this was the issue where the bicep swivel here was like, it felt like his left arm fell off super easily. Now it's like barely noticeable, which is amazing. Of course, same thing for the other arm. He does have a hinge wrist, which is fine. Which is, again, fine. For the butterfly joints, he can pull them back this much, but it will give you big gaps on the actual figure. But for the front, he can definitely cross them slightly, which is really good, especially if you want to do like a stop motion animation for the burning attack. That's going to be really nice there. The torso, this was another issue. The torso was like reversed on the figure. First time around. Don't know how they managed to do that, but I don't think it's reversed in this one. From the looks of it, there's really no clear picture of this guy. Let me see. No, it looks fine. So he can move forward about that far. It'll get you a gap right here, which is fine. You're really not going to see it from the back. And then, of course, going backwards, really nicely done. No gap on the front, which is fantastic. So yeah, very good. Of course, swivel side to side, rock back and forth, or side to side as well. And then you have a loose belt, which is fine. I have no issue there. The legs, now, while the legs are weirdly sculpted, they are able to go in and give you perfect splits, which is amazing. So there is that, perfect splits for this guy. He can kick forward about this far, which is about 90 degrees, which is really good. And kicking backwards, you have to put his leg outward, which kind of sucks because he does have hard plastic sculpted butt cheeks. So that's definitely not something that's really good. He does have a thigh swivel, slight thigh swivel, not the best. A double jointed knee, of course, and a hinge foot that can put him forward that far, backwards this far, rocket side to side, and of course a foot pivot or a toe joint, which is not the greatest. There is a big gap here. They definitely could have painted that here. So again, another thing, if you know it's the reissue, the figure is going to have one less dot. So yeah, very nice overall for this figure. Very amazed as to what I've looked at so far. So from now let's take a look at his accessories, because for a figure his price, he has an adequate amount of accessories. So let me get those out real quick. Alright, so in terms of accessories, he actually does come with quite a bit. Definitely the necessary amount, in my opinion, especially for a figure his price. So starting off, we do have a Super Saiyan head sculpt, or faceplate, that is looking to the side. Very nicely done, very well sculpted. Mine has a little bit of a blemish at the very top, but I have no issue with that. A shouting Super Saiyan head sculpt, faceplate. Don't know why I keep saying head sculpt. Looking really good. Although I do think that the eyebrows might be a little bit too yellow, especially compared to the yellow on the side. And that could also be said for the base head sculpt, the Super Saiyan head sculpt as well. He just has really yellow eyebrows for some reason. And of course, the last one, a grunting, sort of very angry expression as well. Very nicely done for for all three of these. And of course, we do have the base head sculpt for Trunks. Now, this one does seem to have a couple blemishes as well. That could probably be fixed by just like scratching them off, in my opinion. Doesn't really close all the way, which kind of sucks again, but this is looking really, really nice. I kind of wish they gave us an extra faceplate for this guy, either way, so you could sort of like swap out the actual faceplates if you wanted to, probably. Yes, you could. So like if you wanted to sort of do like a mid Super Saiyan transformation, you definitely can, which is really nice. I like that. I like the ability to do that for figures that actually have more than one head sculpt for, in this case, scenario. So yeah, very nicely done. And of course, we have sort of like the wind swept up front section of the hair, which is very nicely sculpted, which again you can swap out for this guy. So just to do a quick look for this guy, because I don't know how I'm gonna have this look really. Very nicely done, kind of. It's not all the way in, but you get the image pretty much from the front. It's not going in all the way. But again, I don't know if I'm gonna keep this for him, but because I think the first one looks much better. It looks more natural. So let me know what you guys think about that. Which like piece of hair do you like more? Of course, we have the sword and the sheath. We already took a look at that, but just an closer look. It's very nicely painted, very metallic, very silver-ish. The handguard is really nicely done. And of course, the paint job for this is amazing. For the hands, he does have 5 different sets of hands besides the actual fists. And those are 2 karate chop hands, very nicely done. 2 ki blast shooting hands, very extended hands. 2 sort of burning attack hands and grasping hands, if you want to use that for that same case scenario. 2 holding hands for the sword itself, with like your index finger being a little bit pushed forward, and then very enclosed hands as well. So my guess is that one of them is supposed to be at the top and then the other one at the bottom. Makes the most sense, because why have 2 different sets of hands to hold the sword unless one of them is wider to hold it? You get what I mean. You hold one on the top, one on the bottom. Very easily done for that. So yeah, this Trunks has definitely surprised me, and honestly not disappointed me, especially after sort of like the whole debacle of the reissue. So no issues whatsoever for this figure. I know some people still had issues with their reissues, which really sucks, but I was lucky to not be one of those people. Now, leading into my final thoughts, I like this Trunks. This Trunks is really well done, especially since there's a lot of issues that have been fixed with him. There's no more shakiness on the legs, no more issues with the arm, no more issues with the actual sheath falling off constantly. Very nicely done. And even the accessories are great accessories to include. I really like the use of the head sculpt as well. The different head sculpt being there for the base form. Instead of having 2 different Trunkses, we just have one that we can swap out. The base head and the Super Saiyan head, which is really nice. Again, just one little gripe. I wish he had an extra face sculpt for the base head. But for my final score, I'm still going to give this figure a 10 out of 10 based on the reissue. This is the reissue that came out this year, 2024. So if you have the old one, it's definitely going to go down in points because of that quality control. But besides that, that is all the time I have for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this guy, the reissue specifically, or if you have the pre-reissue, let me know what you guys think about that, because I'm not going to get it. I was waiting for this reissue. So yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.